Hello everyone, Lady Steam here. In this video, we're going to learn how to build this lovely Countervision hat pin. You can put it on a bag, you can put it on a hat. It's a really fun study in gears. We're going to learn all about how to put it together. Let's look at the pieces to put together this Countervision kit and talk about the wood prep that you'll need to do and the decorating you'll need to do. As you can see, this one is stained, but you can use Sharpies or pins or anything else you want to do your decorating. The most important part is sanding the wood pieces so everything spins smoothly. So here's what we've got and how this is going to go together. This piece that has the words on it is actually going to be our back, and we're going to put it like that, so that it's going down. And then we're going to add some gears to it. And we're going to add a little gear and a big gear here. And then we're going to reverse that and put a little gear and a big gear here. Now, as we do this, we're actually getting a chance to study multiplication of gear ratios, or at least addition. Because you'll notice this one is a small gear and this one is a big gear that has double the number of teeth. So as we spin one, the opposite one is going to go twice as fast. So this is a really fun kit because it's a chance to see how those gear ratios work. And as we build it, we'll play with it a little bit and you can see the speeding up and the slowing down of the various gears. Then we're going to add this gear to the top. And again, make sure you sand everything, do what decorating you want to do. And we're going to put a little thick spacer, and we've got that spacer in your bag right here. So we have a chance to get some spacing between the two. And then we're going to glue this small gear on top. No, we're going to glue this big gear on top on that side and this small gear on top on this side, and that's going to give us our Countervision pendant. So go away and sand and decorate, and then come back and watch the rest of the video. Now that you've got your parts decorated, let's go ahead and put it together. I've opened my screw bag already, so I'm going to start with these two long screws, and I'm going to put them both up and screw them both up from the bottom. It'll take me just a second with my little screwdriver here. By using them this way, we can help prevent the amount of backlash in your piece and make everything spin a little more smoothly. Note that I've got the pieces laid out in the direction that we want to assemble them to make it a little easier for us as well. This is such a fun study in gear speeds that it's really interesting. The question is, if you go from smaller to bigger, you're going to get more force and less speed, at least in terms of revolutions per minute. If you go from a bigger gear to a smaller gear, the revolutions per minute will increase, but you'll have a little less torque. So you'll be able to see that as a real example as we build this. So I'm going to start. Make sure you've got the small part next to where you're going to put your first small gear. That'll get you your alignment properly. And you'll see how if I turn this a half a turn, I only turn the big gear a quarter turn. That's that discussion in gear ratios. And what I want to do first is I want to glue these two gears together. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to use that screw that's already in place to align it, and I'm going to go ahead and put my glue here on these bars. Make sure you don't get it too far out because you wouldn't want to glue the two together to that gear. And I'm going to push down and get those to align nicely. And now, if I spin that same half turn, we're going faster on the bottom one and then slower back on the other one so the two are exactly in sync again. And we're ready to put a small gear here. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to set this on top And we're going to build a shaft through to our front gears. And we're going to use this little wood spacer to do that. So what I want to do is make sure I glue these two together first very strongly. So I'm going to pull the little gear off. And I'm going to run a circle of glue around the outside, like so. And very carefully set it over my screw so I don't get glue in my screw threads. And then I'm going to push that spacer down on top and make sure it's good and tight. That's the first step, and that step needs to be very carefully done to make sure nothing is too thick. And we've got that spacer in place like so. And that's ready to spin, and I'm ready to put this top layer on top. But again, I don't want to get glue all over my middle layer when I'm doing this, so I'm going to lift this gear off again. And I'm going to put another bead of glue against the outside, make sure I get enough for these to fit strongly together. And I'm going to drop this in. And now I'm going to take my middle layer and very carefully place it over so that it doesn't get in the way. And I'm going to put this gear on top. You can decide how you want to align it relative to the bottom one. They're going to change around as we go a little bit. And we're going to push down on this and get that whole shaft glued together. Now, getting that glued together is really important. That's what's going to make the top gears and the bottom gears all spin together. And you'll notice how, as I spin this one, that top one is going much faster than the one I'm spinning. And now, we're just going to nicely set this other gear on top, and it's going to spin even faster. If you want to put the nuts, leave the nuts on top, you're done. If you don't want to leave the nuts on top and you want it to look prettier, you can unscrew it. Holding it together very carefully so you don't lose your center shaft. And run the screws back through. And now we come to a discussion about tightness. And the trick is to make sure you don't tighten anything down, because I could tighten this down so much that it won't spin at all. So I'm going to back this screw up enough that I'm still spinning nice and smoothly. I've got a little space between the top layer of wood and the screw head. And I'll repeat that same process on the other side. And then we're going to put our nuts on the back. You can use Loctite, which is a thread locker, but in this case what we're going to do is I'm just going to use super glue to set the nuts so that they don't fall off or tighten up. And again, I'm going to put this in. If I go all the way tight, I can go back a turn, make sure I've got some space. Everything is still spinning loosely and smoothly on this. And then I'm just going to put a little dot of glue on the tippy top end of my threads here. Try not to lose my nuts into the inner workings of the gears. And I'm not trying, again, to tighten with these nuts. I'm just holding everything in place, so you don't need to make it go super deep. Make sure everything is still spinning nice and smoothly. And you can see you've got a little bit of space on top. And now I can put my pins on the back. We've got two nice spots for you to put pins right here. And so I'm going to put my pins into these center locations. That means we're not forcing your pin to be one way or the other vertically. And you can mount it either direction, or you can mount it up and down. It's kind of fun up and down because it's really easy to spin. If you're wearing it, I kind of like wearing it that direction. And there you have it, the Countervision pin.